Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. My name is Sergey, and I was born in the USSR. So today we are returning to the topic of the Soviet education and Soviet schools. If you guys interested in the topic of education and schooling in Soviet Union, you can check out my playlist, which is called Soviet Education. I have over 20 videos dedicated to that topic, long and boring videos. So today we're going to take a look at my Shodennik, it's Ukrainian word for day planner, or dnevnik, that's the Russian word for day planner. So this is my Shodennik day planner for the 7th grade, which I attended in 1984 to 1985 in Kiev, Ukraine. So this is the front cover of my Shodennik of the 7th grade. And as I said, this year my parents bought Ukrainian version, so I don't think they cared either way because some of my day planners are in Russian, some in Ukrainian, so whatever was available, that's what they bought. And this is the back cover. Tells you the price, 14 kopecks. It was a standard set up in 1978. And this message is in Ukrainian, of course, and it says young friends. And they talk about fires in the forests. So they tell you what to do, not to play with matches and stuff like that. So there's a message about prevent fires. And some of you probably were already wondering why I never filled the front cover. It's bare, right? You can say the word. The reason is that we actually had a special vinyl covers, and you'll never see the actual cover. So that's the reason I think why I skipped to fill in the front cover, is because I always had a vinyl cover above. Okay, so let's open the planner, and here are the little comments. I wrote my name and last name, and my class was called 7B. So usually we had like 4 classes in each grade. So I was in the 7th grade and my class was B class. So this is Russian cursive. So my day planner is in Ukrainian, but I wrote everything in Russian. And I think I already covered this message. This is pretty much instructions how to maintain your day planner. And this pretty much tells you that the pupil, student, supposed to fill in with his homeworks and with schedules, that the teacher, when they give you a grade, they also put the grade in your planner as well as their own class journal, that they are supposed to watch and check your day planner periodically and sign in the bottom of each week, and also mark how many days a pupil missed, any comments. And then in the end of the week, every week, parents must review the day planner and sign on the bottom too. And all the records in this day planner should be neat and gрамотные. I don't know how to say it, like not educated, but without any mistakes. Okay, next page, we have a list of the subjects, предметы, and then names and the last names of my teachers. And you should know by now, if you're interested in Soviet Union, Russia, Ukraine, that we don't have middle names in the Soviet Union like Russians or Ukrainians. So I'm Sergey, and then I use my father's name as my middle name. So mine is Sergey Nikolaevich, the one that belongs to Nikolai, and then you have your last name. So here we have a list of our teachers, chemistry, Russian language, algebra, geometry. We will go through the subjects later, and then have a name of each teacher that taught the subjects. So it's kind of reference. If you forgot the name, of course, you'll remember your teacher's names. But each subject was taught by a different teacher, except algebra and geometry, same lady, Sonia Yurina. Oh, she was mean. She taught both. And then, of course, Russian language and literature, same teacher, and Russian and Ukrainian language and literature, same teacher. Opposite page, this is my schedule for every day. So as you see, we had 5 or 6 classes every day, including Saturday. So the only day off was Sunday. That's one of the horrible realities of the Soviet school system. Kids had to go to school 6 days a week. So pretty intense. Although later on we'll have 6 classes every day. 7th grade will still have 5 classes. So you pretty much start your day in school at 8:30 a.m. and you're done. If you have 5 classes, you're done about 1 o'clock. If you have 6 classes, you're done at 2 p.m. And you see we use in military time, it's 1400. So I grew up, it's like natural wave of saying time, writing down time in military. And below that, you have we have первое полугодие, второе полугодие, so first half of the year, second half of the year. So teacher put the red ink question mark why I didn't fill that part, but it was exactly the same. So that's already, she was checking my day planner, and every class was 45 minutes with 10 minutes between classes. Okay, so this is the general view of my schedule for a week. It starts September 3, but I don't want to scan the previous page because 1984 was kind of crappy year for the children because September 1st fell on Saturday. So we had to go to school on Saturday and then had Sunday off, and then September 3rd was Monday. So as you see, we already have homework pretty much every day and quite a bit of homework. And September 1st was always called День знаний, the day of knowledge. Everyone hated that day, every single kid. And I said, regardless, even if it falls on Saturday, you go to school just for one day to have day off and then go back to school again. Okay, so what I want to do now is to look every day of the week. And I said we didn't have schedule changed pretty much through the whole year. So we're going to look at subjects we had to study every day of the week, 6 days a week. And we're just going to talk about each subject quickly. So on Mondays, the first class was biology. And some of the books that we had, they were shared books for 2 different grades. So for example, in biology, we used that book for 6th and the 7th grade. So you kept that book over your summer break and you bring the book again, and quite a few books were shared, so there'll be 2 grades in a single book. Our second class on Mondays was physics, and I believe physics started in the 7th grade. We didn't study that before, if I recall correctly. I loved physics. I had mixed feelings. I loved the subject, but because our teacher was very mean and very strict, I kind of was afraid of it too because I struggled with homework. We had quite a complicated homework task. So physics, was mixed feelings about that subject. Third lesson on Mondays was Russian language. So we have a separate Russian language and separate Russian literature. And we already have a homework about to write down in my notebook different expressions about Russian language. So that's interesting. So everyone had to study Russian language. Not everyone had to study Ukrainian language in Ukraine, but everyone had to study Russian language. Lesson number 4 was algebra, and my goodness, our teacher was even meaner than physics teacher, Sonia Yurievna. She was Jewish, female, and my goodness, she terrorized us. I mean, bless her heart, it helped me to learn algebra, but man, we hated her. She always gave us so much homework, and I will provide the link for all these books below this video in the comments section, so you guys check it out. But that was pretty hardcore what we have to study in the 7th grade. And the 5th lesson on Mondays was Ukrainian language. Now that one, if your parents didn't want you to study Ukrainian language, and most Russians, like if they family of military personnel, they'll sign the paper request, hey, we keep on moving from one republic to another, so I don't want my kid to learn Ukrainian because next year maybe we're going to be going to East Germany or Kazakhstan, whatever. So we had like 3 or 4 kids in our class. In class, it's about like 30 kids that they still had to be in class, but they were just reading books or hanging out. I mean, not hanging out, but just sitting waiting for the class to be over. They had to attend, but they didn't have to study or get the grade. Okay, my goodness, we're done with Monday, and now we're looking at Tuesday. So once again, we had 5 classes, but at least the last class was physical education. Физическая культура, we actually called physical culture, физра. So technically it's 4 lessons to sit in class and then you're in the gym. So let's look at that. So on Tuesdays, first class was Russian literature, and we had a book which, there'll be a list of books we had to study, read and study and discuss, write some essays through the year. And then we have a book, it's more like Christomatia, so they have a short review of each book. So quite a few children would cut corners and just kind of read the reviews and write their papers based on reviews, not actually reading the book. But there'll be poems, of course, stories of different famous Russian writers. Second class was history, and in the 7th grade, we actually studied the history of the Soviet Union. So the cover says История СССР, History of USSR. After history, we had a double whammy. So we had algebra. So you have an algebra on Monday. That means you have a homework for the algebra on Tuesday. And right after algebra class, we have a geometry class. And I think the reason they put it back to back so kids don't have to move from class to class, because same teacher, same classroom. So we basically stayed in the same room for 2 classes. First we had algebra, and then right away Sonia Yurievna will start pounding us with geometry. I don't remember when we actually started geometry. Was it this 7th grade or earlier? But geometry was horrible because there's a lot of theorems, right? You need to memorize, and she made us to write down like 10 times. So you just kind of memorize all those Pythagore theorems about two sides, sum of 2 side squares of the triangle equals the long side squared. I don't know terms in English really well, but yeah, so that was a bad combination. 2 classes back to back, algebra and geometry, was the meanest teacher in school. And the final 5th class was physical education, what was called физическая культура, physical culture. And sometimes we'll be spending time in gym doing different gymnastics. There'll be some requirements, how many times guys can do chin-ups, how many push-ups. We'll go outside, weather permitting, and then we run outside. There's so many meters, and sometimes we'll play soccer. Sometimes we'll play indoor basketball. And we had to bring sports shoes, which sneakers weren't available back then, so everyone used kids. So you bring a uniform with you, and you bring running shoes. So that's what my note says in the day planner, bring the uniform as a reminder. Okay, moving along, we're going into Wednesday classes. And Wednesday, it's a busy day, got a total of 6 classes, but last 2 classes, it's labor education, so 2 of them. So at least you're not sitting, you're still in school, but you don't have to sit in class and struggle. You do something with your hands, so it made it a little bit easier. And by the way, only in America I found out that a lot of people call it Wednesday is a hump day, and they wish each other happy hump day, and sometimes there's cute pictures of pretty girls showing some humps. And I actually thought they're talking about hump day. It's when you just do some humping between weekends, but apparently it's because it's like a hill, right? A hump. So you're almost over the hill, and from there it's downhill. But of course, in Soviet schools, hump day wasn't Wednesday because we had to go to school on Saturdays. Just kind of funny. Okay, so let's take a look what Soviet children had to do on the Soviet non-hump day. We still had to do a lot of humping in school. So first lesson is Ukrainian language, just like we had one on Monday. And second lesson, Ukrainian literature. So same trick, same teacher, same classroom. Kids don't have to move around. I was okay with Ukrainian language literature. Still I was a Russian-speaking Ukrainian, which is kind of sounds weird, but anyways, languages are not like luggage. You don't have to carry them. It's in your head all the time, so no problem there. I'm happy I studied Ukrainian. So third class after Ukrainian language and literature was algebra, once again. So we have algebra on Monday, algebra on Tuesday, algebra on Wednesday, which means you have a homework Monday night, Tuesday night, and then next algebra was coming up Friday. So a lot of homework. So after algebra, we had chemistry. So chemistry was the new class for us in the 7th grade. It's the first time we ever started studying chemistry, and I really loved it. I truly enjoyed it, and my grades were awesome. I had pretty much A's all the way through. A lot of it because teacher was fantastic. Later on, next grade, teachers changed, and I didn't like the teacher, and I slipped in my grades in chemistry. And after chemistry, we had 2 hours or 2 lessons of labor education. We just call it Trud, but I think official name was Трудовое образование, labor education. And the guys go separate room, girls go separate room, so they learn how to cook, how to fix clothing, and other tricks of the trade. And guys will be learning how to fix stuff and make items out of wood and metal. And we also had to bring special uniforms for that. So this concludes Wednesday. Okay, moving on to Thursday. So now we through the middle of the week and now downhill from there. But the first lesson is once again physics. So we had it as a second lesson on Monday. Now it's a first lesson on Thursday. Second class on Thursday was zoology, animals and plants and stuff. Never had problem with that class. Always was pretty much A's. No struggle whatsoever. Next class was English. In fact, official name, and it says in my diary, it says иностранный язык, so its official name was foreign language. But our school was only teaching English as a foreign language. So we started in 4th grade, and now it's a 7th grade, so I'm like super duper advanced. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we spent 45 minutes every week studying foreign languages. The 4th lesson on Thursday was again physical education, physra. Now, I always hated when physical education class is in the middle of classes. So in this case, we have a total of 6 classes that day, and this is number 4. So you done with physical education, you sweaty. We didn't have showers. So whatever you did, you tired, you sweaty, then you change back to school uniform, then you have to sit in class again. So I hated that part. It was awesome if it'd be the last lesson of the day, but middle of the day, it sucked. After physra, we were studying geography. Now, I think geography was my favorite subject overall, like period. I loved it so much. I loved tracing on the maps, finding capitals, different cities, different mountains. I knew by heart locations, where's the Mount Everest, where's tallest mountain in every continent. I could show any ocean right away. So geography was my always favorite subject. And as a cherry on the top, the 6th lesson of the day on Thursday was another Ukrainian literature, which you might have a homework like you have to memorize some poem. So, you're already tired, you had a busy day, you got physics, you got physical education, and then you still need to remember the poem or something like that. So, long, tough day was my Thursday. Well, we finally made it till Friday, but as a Soviet student, I could never understand the expression, thank God it's Friday, because first of all, I don't believe in God, and secondly, who cares about Friday if you still have to go to school on Saturday, right? So this is the repeat of previous classes. So pretty much we had again double whammy, algebra and geometry, first and second class, same teacher, same classroom. So you had homework for both of those because we always had homework for algebra and geometry. Then you got Russian literature. You might have to study a poem or write some kind of essay. Then we had history and Ukrainian language. So 5 lessons, but first 2 heavy hitters, algebra and geometry. So yeah, Fridays were tough days. Thank God it's Saturday, because this means the end of our struggle in school. And I remember every time I'm getting ready for school on Saturday, I have this thought, this is so not fair, because I see my parents, it's their first day off, they chilling, my dad reads newspaper, watching TV, they relaxed, they need to go to work, and I have to go to school for another 5 lessons. So it's full-blown day, even if it's Saturday. So on Saturday, first lesson was Russian language. Second one, there's another new subject that we got introduced to in the 7th grade was черчение, so that's a technical drawing. Pretty serious subject, 7th grade. So we're talking, I'm about, 13, 14-year-old kid, and I'm already learning how to do technical drawing. I never had an issue with that. First of all, I have always had neat handwriting, and my mother, that's what she did for a living. She drew technical drawings in an engineering firm, so she always was great help. She had nice pencils and everything else. So, and I think our teacher was kind of young and really pretty, so that helped too. After черчение, technical drawing had chemistry again, and here you had to maybe memorize some formulas of different chemical substances. Then we had interesting lesson. Music was our 4th lesson. Never liked that much, and we didn't study music like it should. This different type of voices, chest voice, belting. I had no clue about anything. Our teacher was pretty much making us to memorize another song, and then we'll sing it together, and then see you next week. So I never enjoyed music. And the last lesson of the week, Saturday, lesson number 5, was actually, I thought we had only one lesson of English, but actually we had 2 lessons a week. So on Saturdays, the last lesson was also English language, иностранный язык, foreign language. So this is how the week looked for the 7th grade in the Soviet school in the middle of 80s. Okay, so how about we're gonna take a break? I was planning to make it as a one video, but it's already looks like it's gonna be quite a long and maybe boring video. So we're gonna stop right here, and in my next video we're gonna flip through the pages of my day planner of the 7th grade and see some funny notes. I wasn't that good of student in the 7th grade. I'm not sure why. So we're going to take a look at my next video, and I hope you guys learned something new today. We'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, the cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union.